Hey, what is up everybody, Platform Disciple here, and I'm doing a follow-up rant on the previous rant I did. The previous rant I did was about how healthy the Infinity Wars meta is right now, and by that I meant that there was a very large diversity of decks being played across many different factions, and felt like there was a lot of meaningful counterplay in the game in terms of what strategy you could bring to the table to beat another strategy. Like if you saw nothing but Flamed On, you could transition to some combination of Descendants of the Dragons and Exiles to get that Tibbat effect. If there's nothing but Descendants of the Dragons and Exiles, you could start playing something like a Martyr of Life Warpath deck, and the list goes on. It's a very complicated rock, paper, scissors that I think turns out to be pretty balanced. But there are a few problems, and I think those problems can be addressed. But more importantly than that, as a user, Pope Shine on my YouTube channel commented, they posted a very insightful comment that I agreed with a lot of the things they said. The current meta might not actually be fully evolved. And although I didn't agree with necessarily everything Pope Shine said, this video is ultimately me talking about what I was kind of like inspired to think by what they did say, because if nothing else, their comment got me thinking about what's really going on in Infinity Wars in terms of the meta, and why are we seeing such a healthy variety of decks. One reason is obviously that, and I hope this is as true as I think it is, that the majority of strategies are fairly balanced, the majority of cards are fairly balanced, and things are just overall pretty fair. But what did Pope Shine mean by the meta was not fully evolved? That means that players are not finding which strategies are the best and most optimal as quickly as possible, or they're not choosing to play the most optimal lists, or cannot play the most optimal lists. Now, obviously, newer players who have a smaller collection cannot play the most optimal lists of cards in a lot of cases because they just simply don't have those cards. And Infinity Wars makes it extremely difficult to get rare cards, because if I'm a newer player trying to get Martyr Golems for my most competitive deck, I either have to put a ludicrous amount of time and or money into the game so that I can actually just open those cards from the packs, or I need to devote a lot of time and or money to get cards that are desirable that I can then trade for Martyr Golems, which means that time and or money, once again, plus an additional amount of time and patience to actually find people that have the cards that I need and are willing to trade for cards that I have that I don't need. So not every player has the ability to play the most optimal deck. So what about the players who can play the most optimal decks? The players who are veterans who have almost every card in the game. Wouldn't they be playing the best decks in ranked? Wouldn't they? Maybe not. And why wouldn't they be playing the most optimal decks in ranked? That would have to be because they don't feel that the rank system rewards the best decks as much as it should. So let me clarify a little. They feel that they'd rather play with fun decks and climb the ladder because most of the time the fun decks are going to function as well as very competitive decks, because they might get matched up against a lot of newer players or other veteran players who are playing with other fun decks. And the reason why veteran players are playing with fun decks, I think, is ultimately because the reward system in ranked is currently terrible. So frickin' bad. And let's get into that. I've got some notes here. I recorded this rant already. It was too long. We're trying to make it a little shorter this time. So players are currently not being pushed to play to the best of their ability. New players aren't pushed to play to the best of their ability because they don't feel that they have any reason to play ranked, because it only rewards the top 100 players, and most new players aren't going to see themselves as being in the top 100 or top 100 material, which results in them not searching to play the best deck and or not trying to play in ranked at all. And that's even more true for these tournaments that Infinity Wars hosts from time to time, because the tournaments are even more inbred than the ranked ladder of the top 100 players. The top 100 players in Infinity Wars, I think, especially the higher up you go, you see more and more familiar faces of veteran players. And at the tournaments, it's an extremely small minority of the player base. Not even all veteran players are interested in it, and it receives no broadcasting in any kind of way. There's no reports of what decks are being played. There's no videos being posted of people casting these on stream or anything. So the tournaments are like just this same tiny group of people that only interact with each other in terms of the tournaments. A newer player or even a veteran player who has less interest like myself has no idea what's going on in those tournaments. Moving on, veteran players are not motivated by the rewards in ranked currently as much as they should be. And one reason for this is that the rewards are not good enough. Only once you get to like the top 25 players do you see any infinity bordered cards. So that means players 26 through 100 get nothing in terms of special rewards. Players 26 through 100 get booster packs and a couple of gold uncommons. I shit you not. If you are the 26th best player in the game, you will get 10 booster packs and 2 gold cards. Or something like that. I can double check, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. And that's nothing. Because we have to compare that to other ways you can get rewarded in this game, like Rift Run, where you can do it multiple times in a month. You get rewarded once a week if you have a 7 Rift Run win or better, because there are so few people playing that 7 wins will get you in the top 100. And that will get you a gold card and a booster pack, or better if you're higher up. So already we're seeing that Rift Run is just a better way for players to get rewards. Then in addition, let's talk about the players who are in the top 25 through 11. Those players, although they do get some LP, which is pretty good, the main attraction there is they get 1 infinity bordered rare, which is cool, but the problem here is that if a player like myself wants to get a play set of an infinity bordered rare, it will take me 3 months of playing the best I can and devoting a lot of time. So it doesn't feel like I'm very motivated to get these rewards because it's so frickin' slow and you get so little. Admittedly, I do think the players in top 10 and up do get very good rewards, but I would like to see those rewards scaled down a little. And then the last thing that's discouraging players from playing the best they can and being competitive is that currently, the way the system works is if you play against someone who is lower rank than you, if they win, they gain a lot of points and you lose a lot of points. If they lose a very small amount of points and you gain a very small amount of points. And that's to make up for the fact that odds are if their score is lower than you, they are a newer or less experienced player or a worse player, and they ought to be compensated in some way for being put in a unfair match where they are playing against somebody who's better than them. That's pretty reasonable, but the problem is that there is chance involved in this game. So if the best player in Infinity Wars plays against an average player, there's still a chance that the average player can win just because of some luck, because it is entirely possible that luck, determines the game. In that case, that unlikely case, if the top player has a very high score and that average player doesn't have any score because they've played no ranked that month, the top player is going to lose an insane number of points, which means, mathematically speaking, once you've gotten to a high enough rank, the reward you get for continuing to play ranked is lower than the risk you take for playing ranked, the risk you have of losing. Even if you have an extremely high win rate, you still have that risk of losing, and the reward you get is so small and the punishment you get for losing is so large that it's just not worth it anymore. And that's bad. I think it's okay for players to stop playing ranked because they are afraid of losing, but the reason they should be afraid of losing should be because they think that the players they are going to get matched up against are better than them. Not because the system punishes them for playing the game and getting unlucky every once in a while. That's not fair. That's not fun for anyone. So now let's quickly talk about the solutions. And the solutions are the important part. And let's begin by saying players of all skill levels who play ranked need to be rewarded, even if they are not in the top 100. I have said this before and I'm saying it again, and this should be the number one priority for the Infinity Wars team. This should be something that they should be fixing as soon as possible. Like, there should be nothing else higher on their list right now than rewarding players for playing ranked who are not in the top 100, because it's absolutely so freaking stupid and inbred. Like, the same veteran players are receiving rewards and no one else is. It's so stupid, especially when the veteran players are receiving rewards that they don't necessarily even care much about, because I couldn't care less if I get 10 booster packs, because odds are 10 booster packs has like a 25% chance of me getting any single card I care about, and the others are cards that I have like more than 5 duplicates of. So that's a huge issue. So how would they do this? What would be a good way to do this? Setting up benchmark rewards that help new players more than they help old players would be good. So let's say every time you increase your rank 250 points, and I mean your highest rank, not your current rank, you get like a booster pack and a Rift Run token. So if you get to rank 1,000, you get 4 booster packs and 4 Rift Run tokens. If you get to rank 1,250, you get 5 booster packs, 5 Rift Run tokens, something like that. And it should be based off your highest reward or your highest score, not your current, because that's it. You don't want to punish players for playing the game. That doesn't make sense. Next is that the top players should be rewarded with rewards that reflect the fact that they are top players. Top players should not receive booster packs. They don't need booster packs. And they should all receive infinity bordered and or gold cards in a substantial quantity. What currently, the players who are like 51 through 100 get like 5 booster packs and 1 gold uncommon. That's ridiculous. That's so stupid. The way it should be right now is that the players through 51 through 100, maybe in addition to what they get already, should get 1 gold, 1 infinity bordered common. Likewise, the next tier up should get 2 infinity bordered commons and 1 infinity bordered uncommon. Tier up from that would be like 3 infinity bordered commons, 2 uncommons, 1 rare, and so on. Because currently, as crazy as this sounds, the players who get infinity bordered commons have to be ranked 10 or higher. I shit you not. To get an infinity bordered common, you have to be rank 10 or higher. I am rank 17 right now. I will not get an infinity bordered common. I will get 1 rare. It doesn't make sense. Why am I getting 1 rare if it just doesn't make sense. Okay. Moving on. Next is that we need to continue to improve the new player experience, because right now, it's too hard for new players to get staple rare cards. Like, for a new player to get Chlor, they have to get insanely lucky with their opening up booster pack, or they have to put an insane amount of time into the game, which means they're no longer a new player, or they have to put a very large amount of money into the game and hope that they open Chlor, or in addition to that, if they don't open Chlor, they have to devote a large amount of time finding someone who is willing to trade their Chlor away for something that they happen to have, which is too hard given that the player base is very, very small. Not everyone, there's very few people trading at any given time, and there's no guarantee that somebody's going to have the card you want for a card that you are willing to give away. What I'm saying is that it's about time that we think about putting a crafting system into the game. I have said in the past that we didn't need a crafting system, but honestly, if we want the game to be competitive and foster a developed meta where people care about winning, players need to be able to get the cards that they want. And although I get that the game's trying to make money and that you have to buy boosters, currently, even if I buy 100 booster packs with money, there's no guarantee that I get the particular card I want. And it's too hard to trade because there are too few people trading. Okay, the last thing I want to say is that to get the game more competitive, people need to be exposed to what the game is like when it's competitive. Right now, I am one of 2 YouTubers, and the other YouTuber plays on an extremely casual level. I am playing ranked at a pretty high level, but not everyone I'm playing against, even when I'm, high rank, is somebody who is also high rank. So no one is seeing what a serious game between 2 of the best players looks like. What I want the game to add is a spectator system like Hearthstone. So we could have invite tournaments that invite, the top 16 players in rank, and do an actual bracket style tournament that is casted, where people talk about the game and talk about the strategy, and you get to hear what the best decks are and see the best decks in action. Because right now, although people theory craft about what the best decks are, we don't really get to see it much. And the only people who are playing tournaments, like I said, is this inbred group of veterans that play with each other, but not many new people are joining that crowd. So it just doesn't seem reasonable to me. Okay, that's the whole rant. I'm gonna let's see. Do I need to quickly recover anything? I think I covered it pretty thoroughly. Spectator system could be hard to put in the game. Crafting system could also be very hard to put in the game. I don't expect either of those to happen ever. And if they do happen, it won't be anytime soon. But ranked rewards, there is no excuse for this. This is something that they already have implemented. They already have ranked rewards implemented, but they are just crappy. They need to be better now. It's currently just not getting players enthusiastic about playing competitively. The last thing I want to say is that, like I said before, the top players are discouraged from playing because they have to worry about losing an insane number of points if they get matched up against a super lucky noob, and that's bad. What they should do is, instead of the top 100 being based on current rank, which it is right now, it should only be based off of highest rank. So that way, if a player has a very high rank, they don't have to feel like they have to stop playing to maintain their score. The player who's the best shouldn't have to feel like they need to step away and wait until the end of the month before they can start playing ranked again. So it should be based off of highest rank for everything, for all kinds of rewards, for new players and for top 100 players. Okay, that's the whole rant, everybody. It was a little emotional there, but I feel very strongly about this, and let's bring it back to the beginning, which is part of the reason that we're seeing such creative and fun decks is because new players can't play competitive decks because they don't have the ability to get the competitive cards, and veteran players have no reason to try hard. There's no, why would I try hard? There needs to be more of a push for veteran players to play as well as they can. There needs to be at least some push for new players to try, and I would like to see it be easier for new players to get these super rare cards, because trading, even though trading works, it's a new player can't trade for a Martyr Golem. It's just not possible for them to do, because the only people who are going to have Martyr Golems are veteran players, and the veteran players probably already have any card that they want. So you get the idea. That's the end of the rant, everybody. I hope you found it insightful, and I pray that somebody on the inside of the Infinity Wars team sees this and takes into account the things that I have said, because I think that for the game to continue and to grow, because right now it's so small, for it to grow, the game needs to be more competitively focused. People care about competition. People care about, what are the best players doing? And right now, there's the best players are just ditzing around playing with goofy decks, and there's no way for them to express, you know, this is how I'm gonna play, this is how I'm gonna win. They can't play with the best decks in a way that feels meaningful. Okay, that's it, everybody. Thank you for watching. Until next time, peace out.